What's going on, party people? It's your boy C Tech coming to you with episode 6 of the Grindin' Jiu Jitsu podcast. First 5 episodes, you already know I'm going blast from the past. And one of my journeys after getting into jiu jitsu, I just moved, I just randomly said, I'm moving to Florida and I'm going to take my family. We don't know nobody. I'm taking my family to Miami. And I just so happens to be a gym literally 3 blocks away from well, it's 5 blocks away from my house called Daniel Perez Jiu Jitsu, which is little did I know, Damian Maya's first American school in the US with the first American black belt, Daniel Perez. So, this gentleman here is actually one of the black belts from this prestigious gym in Little South Miami. Ladies and gentlemen, Julian Juju Moreno. What's going on, Juju?
How you doing, C-Tech? I appreciate you for having me on, brother.
Yeah, no, of course, man. So just a little background. I mean, Juju is a high level competitor in the Miami scene. If you look at any grappling event in Miami, he's almost always on the main card. I know that White Lion production. I saw that dub. I've seen W's from this guy. And a little background. When I was going to Daniel Perez, I believe you just joined. You literally just joined as soon as I walked through those doors, and you were already a purple belt, correct? You know what? Let me give me your backstory. How did you start jujitsu, Mister Julian?
Yeah, man. It's been a little while, actually. I'll be going on 16 years now, total that I've been doing jiu-jitsu. So it's a long time, you know what I'm saying? I started as a kid. I'm 28 now, so give or take, I started about when I was 13. I still have my first Naga sword from 2007. That tells you how long I've been in the game. I was when they first started giving out swords. And so yeah, man. And then I trained at a couple schools, and then same thing. I kind of stumbled upon Daniel Perez. Um, really stumbled upon it because it was funny. The first judo school where I had started doing learning grappling and judo and everything, shared a space with Danny actually, and he taught like the morning class, the afternoon classes for the kids judo, and then he took over afterward into jiu-jitsu and his part. Um, and it was really funny. I found that him through Facebook. Angel's his name, promoting, hey, Daniel Perez, come check it out if you're interested in jiu-jitsu. Um, and I gave it a shot, and yeah, I have definitely have not looked back since. I got my brown belt under Danny, and most recently I got my black belt under him as well. Finally.
Yeah, so congratulations on that black belt. What a prestige, you and
Thank you.
Samurai, I always follow all of you guys because I like I said in my previous episodes, when I got back into the jitsu, I was 300 and something pounds. I walked into a 10th planet, and one of my struggles traveling all across the country is, can you find the vibe that made you love jujitsu? And it
Yeah.
was so fucking difficult. But then I stumble upon
Mhm.
Danny and him with his hentai freaking voices and his cool freaking stories. And not for nothing, being Latino at that time,
Mhm.
I didn't even know, like, other than Master Chim in the Bronx and Jungle Gym martial arts, I didn't
Right.
know any Latino black belt and JT Torres, but he's like so
Of course
high
it
up,
was. For
I
sure.
never heard of a Latino black belt, and then Damian Maya's black. What the? And then I see
Mhm.
you walk in the doors, and skinny, real athletic, fast like a mofo, purple belt with mad promise. I remember Danny saying, "Man, this kid has something." And from there on, I've never seen you off those mats. So once again, congratulations
Appreciate
on
it.
that black belt.
Thank you so much.
And it's crazy just seeing where you've come from that specific point of time. But
Mhm.
let's get into the P's and Q's, what this podcast is all about. I
Let's
created
do
this
it. Yeah.
podcast for the ups and the downs of jujitsu.
For
So
sure.
for yourself in your career in jujitsu, what is your high?
Man, I'd say I definitely think my high would be competing at a high level, right? When I'm competing on a card, the more high level, high profile kind of fighters on there. that's really what makes me feel like, wow, I kind of belong, right? I mean, everyone's journey and everyone's goals with jiu-jitsu are different, right? I mean, let's say for you and yourself, you want to get in shape, want to lose that weight, which, man, shouts to you, bro, because you've done it. You not only did it,
50,
you're doing
baby,
it and you've done
50,
it. Hey,
50.
there you go, man. You see what I'm saying? Congrats, dude. So, but everyone's goals are different, right? My personal goal is to be at the highest level, compete at the highest level. So when I'm at these big tournaments, IBJF Pans or Worlds, Nogi Pans, uh, that's really where I'm feeling it the best. I'm looking around and I've got the top level guys, the professionals, competing next to me or getting warmed up next to me. That's the highest of highs for me.
Oh, and highs of the highs it is, and Danny's always in your corner, and not for nothing, the Daniel Perez crew are always supportive, always coming out to the events, almost one of the loudest, especially Emilio. Shout outs to Emilio, I
My
miss
dog,
that dude. Carlos and Samurai and Chris, like I
of
definitely
course.
is one of those. Alex, oh, let me not forget Alex because he will go into my inbox, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want those problems. I don't want those problems. And like one thing is, even after I left Miami, I really wanted to continue to like keep a tight watch off of the Daniel Perez guys, because I'm like, yo, Danny has great instruction. Now
Mhm.
he just needed the someone who's gonna be a competitor and who ain't afraid, and then you walk in the door. So that's your highs in jiu-jitsu. What are your lows of jiu-jitsu?
That's a tough one, man, because it's like, what do you hate the most about something you love, right? It's like it's hard to find it,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
Um, but I definitely I'd say the lows is balancing, kind of playing the balancing act, juggling a lot of parts, right? Realistically speaking, I do love jujitsu and I will hope to make it my life, eventually owning my own school and everything. But I do have a full time job, right? I do work 40 hours a week. I got bills to pay, you know what I mean? All while still trying to hang with the best guys in the world who maybe have different situations going on for them, so finding time for that, work, my personal life, I have a girlfriend, been with her for 3.5 years now, going on four. So
Course.
you know that better than I do with the family. It's a balance. So I think where maybe it might feel the lowest is kind of juggling everything and kind of keeping everything in perspective at the same time, right?
Yeah,
So
no,
it's kind of
most
tough sometimes.
def. Yeah, oh, it's still tough to this day, and we've been doing jujitsu for a long time, and it feels like it never gets easier. But what's one thing about Danny's teaching style that really encumbered like your jujitsu will, like your Naruto, your Nindo. What was your Nindo with Danny that because Danny's school is so small, but even as small as the school is, the guys in there are all monsters. Like, what do you think about Danny that really separates him from other coaches out there?
Um, you know, I hate. I don't even want to, say this in a way that might sound bad to other coaches, but it's his passion, man, his love for it. I never thought I'd meet somebody who was as passionate as about jujitsu. Who could watch it all day, study footage, think about positions. Just in his mind, it's almost like he's working on positions all day. And he really does that on his free time. He really thinks about the either the positions that we already do. Or anything else, really kind of like innovating our technique. So I think it's his passion that really drives it forward. He doesn't take a day off. He's always thinking about us individually. How can we each individually get better, but also as a group at the same time? And I think that just comes from a place of passion and love. You can't do that for the paycheck. You can't do that because you want your name to be famous. Like you really got, it has to come from a place of care. And that kind of his approach to teaching in that way and kind of focusing on each one of us, I think is what changed for me.
Oh, well said. And I have to give it to Danny. All of his classes are so entertaining, so damn
Yeah, more ways
entertaining.
than one, right?
More ways than one, and even until today, like I'm I'm only touching gyms or coaches or training partners that had good vibes, that were in the jiu-jitsu, but they didn't overly take, well, you took it very serious, but who weren't dick to their training partners. And I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna piggyback. We're known for a question, okay? And the question is, have you ever called out someone in jiu-jitsu and paid the ultimate price with an L? But before you go, I have to say mine. There's only
Please.
one person I ever called out, and you're probably going to laugh. It is you, sir. You were the
No,
only
really.
person I ever called out, and I want to see if you remember it. It's an open mat on a weekend, right? No high belts are in the gym. It's all lower belts, white and blue belt. I finally got control of the radio. So I'm playing metal music. And then here comes the senior belt through the door, Juju. And the first thing he says, yells, change this music. I felt heartbroken and I was totally kidding, but then I'm like, I don't really know Juju that well. Maybe I shouldn't kid but like that. But I was like, nah, man, you want to change that radio? Roll me for it. Why? ¿Pa qué eso, bro? Like that was so fucking dumb. Like I never got in a crucifix so fast in my life. I was like, yo, just take you know what? Take my MP3 player. Go ahead, Poppy. Like you can have
Oh
it. That
man.
was dumb. Do you remember that? It might
Of
be a
course
little
I do, bro. Nah, I remember that, man. That was hilarious.
and
Yeah,
in my
man.
head I'm like and you were so modest and humble and you were like
Oh
nah
shit.
nah all right you could keep
You
it and I was
good.
like no you're
You gotta
gonna
pay the
come
price, yeah, right?
and roll me for it and you bust my ass but it was all in a good place. It was just a
Oh yeah,
joke
man.
but then after like I'm not gonna front like after I was like he probably thinks I'm a dick.
Oh no, man. You know what? It's so funny, man, because it's like you said, bro. The vibe we got there, right? Like we talk shit to each other all the time. You know what I mean? Between each other, and calling us out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have expected it from anyone else to do. You know what I mean? And that was like what confirmed. Like, all right, man. Sees the boy, bro. He belongs here. That's just he fits in with everyone, man. That of
so
course I'll never forget that, bro. That was
So
hilarious.
that was mine. So that was mine. What is yours? And it could be training partners, it could be coaches, it could be another grappler. Last time you called somebody out and paid the price with a no.
Ah, man. Call somebody out and pay the man. I say because really I'm not the type of person to be calling people out. I think I learned my lesson a long time ago. You know what? That might be a good story. That might be a fun story to tell. I remember when I was a teenager, I was doing jiu-jitsu, and since I was 13 or whatever, and I was about like 15 or 16 at this time, and I was a little bit of a cocky teenager, I gotta say. My brother will attest to that, and people who knew me from way back will say that I had a chip on my shoulder for sure.
You
Uh,
definitely did. You definitely did.
you know, it's I keep it. I guess you could tell the people who got it right that they keep
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I tone it down, of course, now. But yeah, and so I remember at training one day, I was training with a local fighter who's pretty famous. He was up and coming on the scene at that time. With I forgot, it was one of the MMA promotions down here in South Florida. But I went to train with him because my one of my coaches was close friends with him, and we were rolling around, and I was like, hey, yeah, you know what? I'll go with him. He's a fighter, but I got pretty good wrestling. My jiu-jitsu's fine. Like I could take him, and it was all right. But this is a four-time state champion we're talking about. So when we were on the ground, it was okay. But every time I stood up, I kept getting thrown around like a rag doll. I'm kind of and complaining about his jujitsu, like being that guy, like. And my coach kind of came up to me afterward, and besides getting thrown around, tossed around, standing, my coach came up to me after and was like, man, maybe if you stop to try to coach him, maybe you could learn something from him, and he said a phrase that I'll never forget, and I think about it to this day, wisdom speaks and knowledge listens, right?
Ooh, oh, repeat
Yeah.
that shit. It's
Let me say it one more
bars.
time. Free game, bro. Wisdom speaks and knowledge listens. And
Bars.
yeah, man, and that was a big wake up call for me. Me and the guy got into a little bit of like a heated argument, I guess you could say, and that's what like brought on my coach coming over and telling me that. And that was a wake up call. Really really humbled me real quick, and thankfully I got the message and understood that quickly. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the days that really took the chip off my shoulder.
That's crazy. So you actually tell a story, you call somebody out, and that kind of turns out to be one of your highs, because I think that actually goes into your jujitsu really well. Because I'm not gonna front, when like the ones that I saw, like you always had, like you were super hype in the ring, but when I always saw you at Danny's, you were calm, cool, collected.
Hmm.
Every single time you were never hype over. But as soon as you hear competition and you step on a competition mat, yo, you already knew it was game on. And I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
but the way that you slap and bump right before you go in, I'm like, yo, he's about to fuck somebody up.
It's
You
changed,
know,
right? Yeah, it's a
it,
switch. It really is.
it's a switch. It is really, really a switch. Man, yo, this is so cool. Just catching up. When did you get your black? I saw. I saw the video. All right, so I
I
saw the video, because
appreciate it. That's all that matters.
anybody who gets promoted in Daniel Perez, especially if I trained with you back in the day, like I
Mm.
100% try. I always ask Emilio. Emilio's my guy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
it's a
Emilio.
connect.
I talked to him once in the blue, and I hit up Emilio. I was like, yo, Emilio, please tell me you got the video of Juju getting his black belt. And he says, absolutely. Here you go. And I watched it, and yo, I'm not gonna front. I got a little teary eye. I was like, this
Yeah,
is
man.
so beautiful.
Yeah,
So
hundred
tell me what
percent,
that
man. It is.
moment was, that finally like, not for nothing in jiu-jitsu, we all know, like everybody's like going for that black belt,
For
but
sure.
people don't understand the journey that it takes to really go and get, like you have these
Hmm.
taekwondo, karate, and just normal civilians who don't do grappling, and they're like, oh, it's just a black belt. They probably what, take 2 years to get. No, motherfucker, like this takes,
Hmm.
some people it takes 15, 16 years just to get a black belt. Like,
Yeah.
what was that moment when Danny tells you, hey, you're getting your black belt?
I think two things more than anything stand out to me. One of them, exactly what you said. The amount of time and effort really put into one thing, right? You know, throughout my jujitsu journey, I never really paid attention to the belts or getting promoted. I mean, of course, I did like everyone else, right? I was, excited or whatever, but I was always like focused on getting better, the end goal. The light at the end of the tunnel, not really the milestones on the way. Um, but when I got there, it was like, wow, I've spent more than half my life doing this, and it's really like, when you put it into perspective at 28, 16 years, that's more than I have been alive, like it's crazy. And I think that all the things that have gone on through that time, and the perseverance to get to that point of the acknowledgement of you are a master in this art that, is prestigious, like that level is prestigious. That recognition, I think the amount of time I spent doing that was like, wow, I did it, and I think the second thing, like you saw in the video, Danny talking about how me, when I go out there, it was kind of like acknowledgement for him. It was like confirmation that his work was, meaningful, like that he was teaching good techniques. He's a good coach, type of deal. And that,
You were
like,
like Anakin Skywalker.
I was
You were
the
like
yeah,
Anakin, but except no dark side.
no
But
Darth.
no dark side. But you were like
Right.
Anakin Skywalker, because you really took what Danny said, and you literally said, you literally want me to do this? I will do it. And you literally did it,
Yeah,
and it paid
yeah.
off.
Yeah, 100%. Being able to like give that to him, to Danny. I got third place at Pans last year, Nogi Pans, um, and that's pretty prestigious. That's a major, and to be able to bring a medal back to him, and to say, this is housed here, right? Like we have a Pans Nogi placer here. That meant most to me, more than being able to say that I placed at Pans, was to say that my place got it. You know what I mean? My homies helped me get there. My team helped me get there. So if you're trying to get to that level, come see us. You know what I mean? To be able
Of
to say
course.
that, definitely was the second biggest thing on that day, was that record. Like, I did this for Danny. I got to this level for him, really, more than anything.
Shout outs to Danny one more time, man. This is
The
one of the
boy.
coolest. Yeah, that's one of the coolest dudes ever. Cause Danny is a coach, and when he's ready to coach, he's ready to coach. Like, shut the fuck
Hmm.
up. He's coaching,
Yeah.
but he's so he's one of the boys, like he's literally one of the boys until that black belt comes on. And even though he has some times that he goes off the edge, but he's so fucking good. And shout out to Danny
Mhm.
one more time. I really love that guy. And he's supposed to come on the pod. We just, he's teaching all the time. So we're still
For sure.
trying to figure out the timing of it. Um, talk about Samurai. How is it, Samurai? He becomes he's literally the first black belt from
Mhm.
Danny. Okay, from I believe from white belt or blue belt,
Yeah. White
all
belt
the
all the way through.
from white belt to black belt. What is it like training with a guy who's been with that coach from white belt, and how his game helps you prepare for your tournaments, other than I know Alex is always getting rounds in, and I know everybody gives good rounds over there, but
100%.
what is it like training with another black belt from your school? And like, how is that?
Man, I'll say if we're gonna make me the cruise ship that brought all the people, brought all the things to Danny's, that man was the lighthouse, bro. He guided us there. With him there, there's no finding the continent that is Danny. You know what I mean? I can't give him enough props for that because when I joined, he was the most senior there. Our boy Yannick was there too. Purple Belt who had fought a bunch.
Yannick, yeah.
Um, but definitely Samurai was around more often and competing a lot more often than anyone. He was definitely the lead competitor, and
Yep.
that's an older brother there. That's big bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I always followed his lead when he went to compete. And even when it seemed like maybe I was competing more often, he was always my hardest training partner, always giving me the hardest rounds. To this day, that old man, bro, is that old flexible man, bro, is still giving everyone problems out there. And more so me than anyone else, dog. So yeah, it's great to have that. You definitely have, although it seems of course, to the outside eye, or maybe somebody, being like, oh, Julian's the guy, I'd definitely be like, let's go talk to Big Bro real quick. You know what I mean? Like, check in with Big Bro first, because
And he's one
he's
of the
definitely,
oldest competitors too, and he
yeah.
still goes out there and puts on a performance. I think he did. Didn't he have like a not who's number one? He had a fight to win, right? He didn't
Yeah,
he do fight to
yeah,
win not too long
oof,
ago?
he's competed on Fight to Win a bunch of times already. At this point,
Yeah,
he's a Fight to
yeah,
Win veteran, so
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I
yeah.
give shots to him.
Shout out to shout out to Samurai. So Juju, what I know your mind is probably on ADCC in the future, or coming up. I don't know what the plans is. I haven't looked at the schedule if it's even coming up anytime soon, but it's probably next year, right? Trials is next year
Trials is actually in October.
in
It's in
October.
October coming up in a few months. Yeah.
So what the fuck you doing in October?
Oh, I think I'm gonna be chilling in October,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
but I'll say my rookie year is coming to an end. You know what I'm saying? And I've learned a lot in my rookie year. You know what I mean? As a black belt, I've competed a bunch. I've competed at least twice against top 15 opponents. Ranked and flow top 15, and to be able to do that in my first year as a black belt is pretty great. Besides the last year, later half of last year was already kind of gearing up for that. It's a different when you get into the actual black belt circuit and you start competing against black belts. You know what I mean? Um, but like I said, I think that this year's gonna be a little quiet, but definitely beat me next year, 100% in the later half
Oh,
of this year.
you fought one of my friends, training partners, and sometimes coach, Jason Valle.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Jason, and really cool dude, great guy. And I remember he telling me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going against Julien Moreno." I said, "From Daniel Perez? Word?
Small world.
Just 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 letting you know, he ain't no joke." And I heard it was a banger. It was an absolute banger. And because I know you
100%.
both go for the kill. Because Jason
Yeah.
doesn't play passive. He's going for the kill. And I know you go for the kill. So I don't know who won. I don't know what happened, but I know that it was a battle and a half. So it's just such a cool just to say that I know
Mhm.
two high level grapplers who went against each other in general and say, there was once upon a time your papa used to roll around with these motherfuckers before, while he was a
Yeah.
chubby monkey, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Right.
it's so good. I don't want to take too much of your time, Drew. What do you have planned
Good.
for, I know you said you're chilling in October, but do you have any matches or anything coming up right now?
Right now, I got my eyes 100% on maybe going out to Nogi Worlds in December. For to do that. Also, you can always check me out, White Lion Promotions. Uh,
Always.
yeah, yeah, that's the girl out there doing her thing. Amy doing her thing.
Amy,
Uh,
what's up, Amy? Shout
and
out to Amy.
but yeah,
Sponsor the podcast, girl.
come out here. What's up? But always jumping on super fights there, and that's actually I had a like I said, I fought with somebody in the top 15 last year at White Lion Promotion, so definitely gonna be keep looking on that, do the circuit there, and yeah, ADCC trials next year.
And
See, the second North
so,
American.
any sponsorships you want to shout out? Any charities? Anything in particular?
Nothing, man. Shout out to Daniel Perez Jiu Jitsu. Check us out on the gram. If you're in Kendall, you know what I'm saying, South Florida, come check us out. If you're in the area, come check us out. Look for us and keep an eye out for us. We coming, like you said.
Juju, it was an absolute pleasure catching up again. And I'm telling you
Hey,
right now, we should have a part two definitely in the
100%,
future.
man.
You know what? Maybe after Nogi Pants, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you never
Hey,
know.
come back
You
with some
let
good
you
news,
let
right?
yeah, you let me know. We can hash it out and talk more bullshit on our stories and really
Totally.
get into depth with our past jujitsu and just our journey in general because I just feel like eh, like other podcasts, they go on for 2, 3, 4 hours, and I got a family. I don't got that type of time.
All
And
right,
I
I
got,
hear you.
and I have 2 jobs, 3 jobs now,
There you
so,
go, right?
it's hard to get a lot of time in, but there could always be a part two. And that's what I'm going to focus on. And that's what I hope will happen with us in the future.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julian Juju Moreno. Uh,
Appreciate you,
thank
T.
Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 6 of the Grindin' Jiu Jitsu podcast. Shouting out once again Julian Moreno from Daniel Perez Jiu Jitsu, the first Damian Maya school in South Florida, Miami. Holler at Daniel Perez if you're trying to get some training in South Jersey. And if you're in I said South Jersey, South Miami. If you're in North Miami, you already know what's up there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh, shout out to Pressure Pass Pressure Washing in Orlando. Shout out this podcast. You get a free introductory rate into a pressure washing package. There you go. Just to make sure my sponsors is taken care of. Shout out to Cogito.
Shout out to them.
Peace, everyone. Stay on, Ju. We are out in 3,